Hey guys, and thanks for tuning into my comparison, tabletop comparison. I have three guns here, and I wanted to go through there in case you're thinking of buying an H&K 45, a Glock, or a 1911. What you can make a choice on, which gun you feel, that's in your budget or you want to buy. I'm going to go through the attributes of each one, and then we're going to show you some of the features. All the guns are unloaded, and I'll show you that as we go through it. The first one is the H&K 45. H&K 45 has been around for some time. It's a 10 round magazine it holds, 45 ACP, double action. It has a decocker, it has a safety, you can carry a cocked and lock. It's got a rail here for your lasers or lights, and I'll show you that in a minute. It is polymer with a removable back strap. There's a pin you can knock out and change it to your hands. Fairly aggressive stippling for your hand, and it's a good looking gun and it feels good. Well made, double action, single action. From the factory, the H&K 45 comes with luminous sights. It doesn't come with night sights, and I've changed them on this, and I'll show you that. The luminous sights are just like a drop of luminous paint they used to put on the dials on alarm clocks and stuff years ago. It exposes to light, and then in the dark it'll glow. But they're not radioactive like tritium. They don't have tubes in them, and they don't always stay glow in the dark. It is polymer, like I said, with a metal slide that's coated. They use a nitrocarbonization on their slides, which is a little bit different process than the Glocks. Next one is the Glock. This is a Glock 20, which is the 10mm. Glock's been around for a very long time. This has a little bit wider footprint when you're holding it. It is aggressively stippled here and here, and it has some texturing there. It is polymer with a steel slide. They replaced the tenifer, which they used to use, with a nitrate process. I think it's nitrocarbonization. I think this is the same thing they use like on the Glock. But they did change that because tenifer was used cyanide, and it was EPA hazard. Now I guess if you buy the ones that are originally made in overseas, then you probably get one with a tenifer or some of the older models. It is a more durable finish. Well, there's a lot of accessories you can get for the Glock. This particular 10mm holds 15 rounds in the magazine, and when we do the review on that, I'll show you more. A lot of different accessories you can get for its sights. Comes with a just plastic sights with white stripes on them, white outline on the rear, and a white dot in the front. It does have a rail here. Not as extensive as the rail on the H&K. This is more universal standard, but it does have a rail so you can put a light or something, and we'll show you in a little while. Easy to take apart, very simple gun to take apart. The next gun is a Nighthawk, and we're just bringing this to show you it's a 1911. Most of your 1911s are pretty much the same as far as fit and finish and stuff. When you start getting more expensive, you're paying more for the fit and finish of the gun. You're paying more for the design of the gun. If it's a bobtail, if you have wooden grips and different stuff like that. This is going to be an 8 round magazine in the 45 ACP, single action only. 1911s by nature is a single action. They have great triggers, they're very accurate. This is all stainless steel. Most of your 1911s are going to be stainless steel or carbon steel coated with some kind of black oxide coating. I don't like black oxide because it rubs off. They're going to have two safety systems. They're going to have a rear beaver tail safety, which has to be depressed before you can pull the trigger, and they're going to have slide safeties. Some will have an ambidextrous, like this one has on both sides. Some will only have it on one side. You can get a wide arrangement of different sights for these grips. You can buy different springs and triggers and hammers and stuff like that, but usually people don't replace much of that because the 1911 out of the box is usually pretty good. Lights, you don't see a rail here, so you couldn't really put them. Some do have rails on it. you can get laser sights for these. Okay, and I think they have trigger well lights that you can put down like this that could clip onto here, but a lot of people would worry about scratching the surface of this. This is actually polished flats with a bead blasted stainless steel finish everywhere else. So let's get into the review. And I guess what we'll do, the first one we'll start on is the H&K. This is the first list. It's actually empty. I'm going to bring the camera down a little bit closer so you can see it. It does hold 10 rounds. Okay, I'm going to show you it's empty here. Nothing in it. Finger check it. Okay. Like I say, looking at the H&K 45, we see it's very ergonomic in the hand. It fits very good. The nice thing about this, it does have a safety. Where you could not shoot it. It has a decocker, which means you can rack this and have a bullet in there, okay, and then just drop this, and this will drop the hammer, but safely. You see, it doesn't rest on the firing pin there at all. You can see it. So when you take it, pull the trigger, because it is double action, then that will fire. It's full double action, or you can keep it cocked and locked. Oh, like a 1911. Are we ready to go? Two, bang. Okay. But it is a great gun. Like I say, I have night sights on it. It didn't come with those night sights. I put those on there. They're Trigicons because I did not like the luminous green. Kind of shitty looking. And for a gun that's, you know, pretty close to $1,000, you'd think they would give you a nice set of sights, but they don't. They're cheap asses. It has a full rail, which is really nice, where you can take any kind of light. This is a Viridian. You can put it on there. Okay, it's kind of nice. Or, you know, laser light, whatever you want to put on there. The magazine release, you can see how unique that is. That's because it's easier to put gloves on. Push that down for combat. I like the way that design is. Very good design on this gun. Nice big wide trigger well here for your finger. The trigger's nice and big and meaty, so if you had gloves on or something would be great. Only thing, it's only 10 shots, but it's very aerodynamic. You have exchangeable here, removable little grip pads here. You knock this pen out and you can change these for your hand. Being a single stack, it's not a wide gun. It's very easy to take down. Very, very simple, these guns. And this particular one is a little bit customized, so they don't come like this. But great gun, very reliable, highly desirable gun, and that's always on you know, a wish list for anybody. The second one is the Glock. Now, whether it's this is actually a Glock 20 10mm, whether it's a 10mm, whether it's a 9mm, whether it's a 45, it doesn't really matter. Glocks are very reliable guns. Let me just show you it's empty. Okay, it's empty there. Lock the slide. You can see there's no bullets in there. Nothing. Okay. Glock, like I say, what can I say? It's history surpasses it. They're fantastic guns for shooting, for self-defense. So I mean, I'm really realistic. If I only could have one gun and I couldn't spend a lot, I'd probably buy a Glock. The only thing I don't like is the lack of a active safety here. This is a passive safety, which means once it's cocked, this little button here, the gun will not fire no matter what, see? But if you press this, that activates it, and then it'll fire. There is a part you can get, a cider lock for these guns. If you wish to make them so they are safer, I'd recommend it for the 50-60 bucks. This is an SF, which means it's a short frame. Glock came out with the SFs because to make it thinner. Since this is a double stack, it will hold 15 rounds and 15 rounds at 10 millimeter. Sorry about that. And the 10 millimeter is really this kind of bullet here. Okay, let me lay this down and show you in comparison to the 45. Okay, see, it's a longer cartridge. It holds more powder. It is a smaller diameter bullet, but it's got a longer case. The 10 millimeter is like a Smith & Wesson 40 Magnum. Okay, has more powder it can hold. There's a lot of accessories for these. These guns come down simple. 34 to 35 parts. Parts are everywhere. These guns you can get anywhere from I would say in the $550 to the $650 range, depending on where you buy them and who you buy them from. With an average of probably about $550, I would say. Like I say, it uses the nitrocarbonization type coating now. It used to use Tenifer. They don't use it anymore because it's illegal. It has cyanide in it, and the process as EPA, it's not very good for the environment, so they banned it. Plastic sights front and back, white outline in the rear, white dot in the front. Sights come off really easy. You can pound them off. In the bottom here, there's a screw on the underside of the slide you can take off. You can buy a lot of extra parts like slide stops, takedown levers, pins, extended magazine releases. There's just a shitload, myriad of stuff that you could buy for these guns, and it goes on and on. It never ends. But a Glock, I mean, you can't go wrong for a defensive gun. If you want an inexpensive defensive gun for the home, any Glock is pretty much good. I don't know if you'd want a 20, because that's a 10 millimeter and that's a woofy, really hitting round. Some people might want a Smith & Wesson 40 or a 9 millimeter. You can also put a light on it, or any kind of laser. It has a little it has a little rail there. You can put a light on it, and it makes the gun look really nice. And it's, you know, it's a functional part. Take that on, turn it on, point it. It's a great gun. But like I say, you can buy extended magazines for this. You can buy parts that go in here, and rear covers, and there's a shitload of stuff you can buy for these guns. Glock, another very reliable keeper of a gun. Next one is a 1911, and I'm just using this for an example. It's a 8-round magazine or a 7-round. Some take 8, some take 7. It depends on the kind of frame you have. This is a bobtail gun, so you're going to see the there's no mag well on it, so it's going to be more squared off. And actually, it's smaller. It's better for footprinting, like when you carry it in a holster. Stainless steel magazine, whereas the Glock has a polymer one with steel inside, and the H&K is all metal. Show you the gun is empty. I do have a dummy round in it. You can see that fall out. I'm going to lay this gun down because I will put the dummy round back in when I drop the slide. 1911s, they are great guns. All your 1911s are going to be single action, normally only. They're going to be stainless steel or carbon steel, some kind of material like that. Most will have night sights on them and adjustable sights. However, you can get a wide arrangement of sights, and some will have stainless steel one-piece guy rods, some won't. This particular one has a insert in the barrel to make it more accurate. Normally they have a slide safety and a beaver tail safety. This is the grip safety, which the gun will not fire without it. Let me put a magazine in to show you. Okay, so if I pull that trigger, it will not go off. Okay, if I put that off and pull the trigger, it won't go off. This particular one has 2 safeties, one here and one here. If I drop that, it still won't go off unless I depress this. And if I depress that, and then it's going to fire. Normally, all 1911s will have the slide safety and a beaver tail safety. The beaver tail here actually is a two-part function. It allows the slide not to come back and hit you, and also for the hammer to rest into this pocket so it doesn't go back and hit your hand. Here's your slide release. Takedown on 1911s is a little bit harder than the other guns we talked about. There's a wide arrangement of different things you can get for these guns and adjustments. They have some have cut out here like this so you can have a better grip on the gun. Some will have wooden, some will have fancy grip screws like that, or they'll be bobtailed, serration, checkering. This particular one has stippling. Some have ribbing. I mean, every gun is different, but it's going to really depend a lot on you, how you like it, or what you like on a 1911. Average price for 1911s, are in the. You can buy a 1911 for $500 and up. Something like this is going to be quite expensive, so it just depends on the person buying it and what they want. They are more accurate, they are on target, they're heavier guns, going to last forever pretty much. Some people said they're finicky. I have not found that out to be true. Maybe if you buy a cheaper one, some of the parts maybe aren't set up the right way and they might be more finicky, but you're limited without a rail on these for a light. You can go with a laser. Crimson Trace makes some lasers for these, but then you lose your emblem here, which is a shame, you know. They do sometimes have lights that will clamp onto the front of the trigger well here. But some people don't like to put those on because they do scratch up the gun a little. Normally your guns the stainless steel ones are bead blasted, and sometimes you can get them custom polished flats here. That offsets them, especially over here. It's nice to have the polished flats because when you're taking the gun down, you could actually scratch this here. But I wanted to show you that, and like I say, this is a 45 ACP. That's a 1911. So I guess a lot of it is going to have to really depend on the person, you know, what they like. If they like the 1911, if they like the H&K. I mean, what is their, what turns them on. But hopefully that's helped you. I mean, these really are three popular guns that a lot of people do purchase: the 1911, the Glock, and the H&K 45. They're pretty popular guns. And like I say, an H&K is probably at like between the $900 and $1,000. Here you're talking about between $550 and $650, and in a 1911 anywhere from $500 up. You can go $10,000 on 1911. They're very expensive for what you get. Different manufacturers charge different amounts of money. But thanks a lot, and you tell me what you think.